for the shortened episode 3 of MGB Wrestling Podcast. In match 1, we have Podcasts of the Week. In match 2, we talk about last week on Impact Wrestling. In match 3, we have a round of Are You Smarter Than a 4th Grader? In match 4, we look at our top moments from Monday Night Raw. In match 5, we look at this week in wrestling news. In match 6, we look at our top moments from Smackdown Live. In match 7, we have Tweet of the Week.
My name is Graham Bagshaw, and my co-host and creator of this podcast is proof that wrestling fans live with their parents, my 10-year-old son Mason. We are recording on Wednesday as we have a Nova Pro wrestling event, which is why we're doing a shorter episode this week, as we will also be reviewing #Rip Her to Shreds too. Okay, how was your week then, Mason, and what are you most looking forward to this weekend then at Nova Pro?
Well, what I'm most excited for is to see an all-female card. That's just something you'd never see. Because, you usually have a men's match, and, it's just totally different. That's what I'm really excited for. And
certainly in the WWE, it was almost like an afterthought. You have the men's matches, you got a little bit of time to fill, and you throw in a women's match. Now, it's starting to change. The women are definitely taking center stage now at WWE. And I remember when this came out at Twitter, it was actually asked, would you guys come to an all-female card? And I think a lot of people were kind of like, really? And I say the reaction was positive. It was absolutely, yeah, we definitely want to see that. And they quickly set it up. So I'm excited for that too. The match I'm most looking forward to is actually probably in the tryouts match. It's going to be Tim Donst versus Logan Easton LaRoe. I don't know if you remembered that one or not.
Yeah, I did. It's just, that's really cool. It's a tryouts match, and they have already, they're two big stars in Nova Pro.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be one of the fan favorites as well. I don't think Tim Donst could be any more over at this point. I think there's going to be even more people wearing bright vests, show their support for him, and probably a few more signs as well. So I definitely think that that's going to be a great match. All right, as this is a shortened episode, Mason, let's get to it then with round 1. So in match 1, which is scheduled for
1 fall,
we have Podcasts of the Week. Now, normally I have 2 podcasts and I pick the winner. This one is a no contest this week. I'm going to go straight away for the guys over at the Blade Job Show. And I'm going to pick out episode 15. I know they released episode 16 already, but I'm going to go for episode 15. But with this being a PG-rated podcast, I'm only going to recommend the last 5 minutes for the listeners if that's what they actually like. If you're not worried about that and you can cope with a bit of language, then certainly go ahead and listen to the rest of the show. Mason, I know you were also a big fan of this. Do you want to talk to us about why we picked the last 5 minutes?
Well, why we picked the last 5 minutes was because they said that they would make it PG material so I could listen to it. And they said if they accidentally said a cuss word that they would...
They did the ring bell. They were going to do a beep, but they decided as it was wrestling, they were going to do the ring bell as well. And I know it was really tough for those guys, but they managed almost a full 5 minutes. They just had that one little blip there. But what did they specifically talk about in that 5 minutes that both of us thought was really cool?
They were talking about our podcast.
Correct.
And yeah.
Yeah, and they spoke very favorably of you. You're probably getting all modest now, but I think one of the quotes from them was, I don't know, give him 2 days, give him 2 weeks, give him 2 months, 2 years, that he can be anything he wants to. He could be a reporter, he could be a commentator, anything like that. So we certainly appreciate the kind words from those guys. And also, they did send you a shirt a couple of weeks ago as well, which I know that you really like as well. So they're really cool guys. If you're not concerned that it's not PG-rated material, then certainly go check them out. They're on iTunes now, The Blade Job Show, and you can follow them also at The Blade Job Show on Twitter, and certainly check them out. Now, as we both picked the same one this week, Mason, I let you pick a second one. So, do you want to tell me what your pick was then for this week?
My second pick was the BWP Hot Takes. Mm-hmm. I thought they were just great hot takes. And it's got to take some nerve to say that. And
so tell us what a hot take is then, first of all.
A hot take is something that most people don't agree on. And they thought, one of them thought Ric Flair was horrible.
And I know that was definitely a hot take. The BWP is the best wrestling podcast. And I know one of them, I think it's Jonathan, is a real big fan of Ric Flair. So I know that to say that from the other guy, I know that was kind of a tough one. I actually came up with one as well. Did you come up with your own hot take?
Yeah, I think that the women should be a totally different card from the men's. I think it should be like that, Rip Her to Shreds. It should be like that.
So kind of like they're doing right now for the cruiserweights. So they got the 205 Live. I know they still appear a little bit on Smackdown, but they should have their own entire show. Okay, so you get more chance to highlight some of their talents, perhaps. I kind of like that as well. You would get to see some of the more matches. The only thing I do actually like to see them mixed together as well. I like to see the best men, and I like to see the best women on that. So I think that's definitely a hot take, but mine was, and we've mentioned this before already, we can't stand the New Day. Mine was that the WWE would be much better without the New Day. I'm just so tired of that whole routine. I don't like their matches. We'll often skip through them. I don't like their intros. I don't like their music. They did a good promo last week with the Usos, but besides that, that was my one. So go check out those two. My pick was the Blade Job Show, episode 15. And Mason's pick was Best Wrestling Podcast, and it was the episode which was Hot Takes. In our second match, scheduled for
One Fall.
we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling, and as we're reducing this week, we're not going to talk about our top 3 moments each, and we're going to talk about one specific moment, and this was all over Twitter this weekend and all over social media. The end of the Eddie Edwards-Sami Callihan match. Now, notice I didn't say the match, I said the end of the match. So, Mason, do you want to run us through, for people who didn't catch it, what actually happened, first of all, in the match, and then what happened immediately after that match?
So what happened was Eddie Edwards, he beat Sami Callihan. And so after the match, Sami Callihan, he was beating up Eddie Edwards, and he threatened to hit him with a bat. So Sami Callihan, he put the chair on Eddie Edwards' chest, and the chair kept sliding off. So Eddie Edwards had to keep fixing it.
And you could tell it was a big setup. Like you said, it was slipping. It was clearly supposed to be on his chest. And the idea was Sami Callihan was going to take a big swing with that baseball bat. He was going to hit the chair would hit his chest, but it obviously wouldn't hurt as much if you hit him with the bat straight away. Now, the thing was with this, it was a real baseball bat. This wasn't a staged bat. And do you want to tell us what actually happened when they tried to do this?
So, Sami Callihan, he hit the edge of the chair, so it bounced off and hit Eddie Edwards' eye.
It did, and it did quite a lot of damage. It certainly wasn't intended to do that. And actually, you pointed out something really important about that. If they just set the chair up the other way around, 180 degrees away, it would have bounced, hit the back of the chair, and then gone in the opposite direction. But the way they set it up was it hit the chair and it bounced and it went straight into his eye. Now, with this being such a serious injury, there was a lot of talk over the weekend about how safe this was, who was to blame, etc., etc. So afterwards, there was a few things that went on with regards to this. So on Monday afternoon, at Busted Open Radio retweeted, "If I have to apologize to the fans, I'm not coming and working for your company anymore. Bleep happens." Now that was from his interview that he did with Sirius XM. And he also said that he was going to do a post on Twitter in the evening as well. This is from the Sami Callihan. And he said, "This is stupid. I'm officially done with this garbage. If any professionals, in quotes, or fans have a problem with my work, in quotes, please look at my overbooked schedule and come and find me. Just know I won't be alone." And then there's a picture of a baseball bat. So what do you think about this then? So do we think this is real, or do you think he's just playing into his character of Sami Callihan, the tough guy, the I don't care guy, or whatever?
He's just playing his character because after the match, he was like, uh-oh, that was not supposed to happen. You could just see it in his eyes.
I think you could see it in his face as well, as soon as he'd hit him. But, of course, there was nothing you could do. It had already happened. And then it continued on Tuesday as well. He posted, "Let's see how much my bank account goes up now on sale." And then there's a link to his Pro Wrestling Tees page. And there's a shirt of Eddie Edwards' beaten up face and a quote, "I broke Eddie's face." So, still think he's playing into character?
Yeah.
I think so too, and I didn't look at this up, but I did hear Eddie Edwards has that same picture posted on his page as well. I know Jim Cornette in particular was very vocal about this and how dangerous it was, and I agree. I think the people who said this was a good idea probably should have looked at that again. Perhaps use a safer bat, and then at least if accidents do happen, it's not going to be as serious. One thing I will say, full credit to Eddie Edwards. If he's gone along with this obviously hurt a lot. He's been very classy about it. I did see that he was, I did see on Sanjay Dutt's Twitter feed as well, he was talking about it, and he seems pretty okay with it. Now, one thing with Impact Wrestling, in case you don't know, this was actually filmed several weeks ago. So this actually happened, I believe it was in early January. I guess Eddie's a lot better now. But yeah, obviously that was quite a big issue from Impact Wrestling this week. In our third match today, scheduled for
One Fall.
Are You Smarter Than a Fourth Grader? Featuring Mason versus you, the listener. Now, I heard AJ Styles being discussed on a podcast this week, and mentioning he was over 40. Well, he is 40. And that really surprised me. I thought for sure he was still in his 30s. And they were talking about how he was getting a little slow. Now, I don't know about that. So, Mason, anyway, this week your questions are, can you tell who is 40 and over and who is under 40? Now, remember, Daddy is 42, so that's a slight guide for you. So you're looking for people who are sort of my age and above, or people who are under 40 as well, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let me give you an example. As we're reading the book right now on Chris Jericho, and I know that you do know his age, there's my first one. So if I was to say Chris Jericho, what are you going to say?
Over 40.
Correct, and I think you actually know his age, right?
47, I think.
And I'm not sure because I don't have him on my list, but I think you're pretty close. If it's not, it's probably 48. So that's the idea. You got it, okay? All right, number one then. Daniel Bryan.
Older than 40.
Okay. Wrong. He's actually under 40. He's actually 36 years old.
What?
He's quite a bit under. He's not 37 until May 22nd. So that's nothing to begin with. All right, number two. John Cena.
Older.
Correct, but not by much. He's 40. He's exactly 40. He'll be 41 in April. So that's one. All right. Do you know the presenter or the old ring announcer, Lillian Garcia?
Yes.
Okay.
Under.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I was surprised by this one. She's over, but I was surprised by how much. Now, it's not polite to mention a lady's age, but I will mention she's actually in her 50s. So I was actually really surprised by that one. So that's another one that you didn't get, but I didn't think that one was an obvious one. Next one, Luke Harper.
Younger.
Correct, he is. I always thought he would look a lot older. He's actually only 38. Surprisingly. All right, you got 2 out of 4 so far, so you didn't get. Remember, you need 6 out of 10, though, to get your pass rate according to the school district that you live in. Samoa Joe.
Younger.
He is, only 38, and he's been around for a long time, so I thought that one was kind of a tough one to predict. Our current Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar.
He has to be under if he's fighting in UFC. If he's going to fight in UFC.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
He's not. He's over, actually. He's 40. Yeah, he's going to be 41 in July, so I'm afraid you missed that one as well. That one was kind of a tough one because he's like right on that limit. All right, next one. Somebody who featured prevalently on Raw, and we're going to talk about her in a second. Stephanie McMahon.
She is...
This one's kind of a tough one. Some of these are so close within like a few years that it does make it a little bit more difficult.
Wait, if she was really young, wasn't she... Didn't we watch the, what WrestleMania was the Rock Stone Cold one we watched?
21, I think.
21.
So that's a few years
She's
back.
Younger.
She's not actually. She's over.
What?
No, she's just...
Oh.
Well, we shouldn't say, but she did turn 40 fairly recently, we'll say. Okay, so she is just a little bit over. Next one. Randy Orton.
Older.
No, he's under. He's only 37. Now, for someone who has been, and I'm not sure the number, is it 12 times world champion? He's been around for a long time. And I remember watching Randy Orton in 2000 when I first came to it. So he must have been like 20 then, if I can do my math quickly in my head right there. I was surprised by that one. Yeah, he's not even going to be 38 until April. So, no, you didn't get that one either. This is kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
All right, we talked about him last week because he was really high up on the Twitter feeds. Twitter followers, sorry. Sheamus.
He is older.
He is, but only
Yes.
just. He just had his 40th birthday at the end of January. So
Woo.
you got 4. So you're not going to pass this week, but you do need this last one to try and get a half. Now, of course, if you've been keeping count of how many over-unders, this last one will be easy. But last one, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, he's older.
He's not. He's under as well. He was born in 1980. He's only 37 years old. He won't be 38 until July 27th. So, okay, well, you only got 4 this week, so this wasn't your best round, this one. I think we'll have to give you some extra studying to do on this one. There's no extra credit this week. I was going to give you extra credit if you could pick the oldest and the youngest, but I think I gave away who the oldest one was anyway, because Lillian Garcia was in her 50s.
Yeah.
And I think I told you the other ones as well. I think it was Daniel Bryan who was actually the youngest of those ones. So, yeah, he's still only 36. It's amazing. If the doctors can clear him, then I'm sure he still has time on his side, certainly with regards to that. In our 4th match, scheduled for...
Warren Fall.
We have our best moments from Raw, March the 5th, from Milwaukee. Now, we're not going to do our top 3. We're just going to go with our favourite moment, Mason. So, do you want me to tell me what your favourite moment was?
My favorite moment was when Stephanie... And she said Ronda Rousey could pick anyone for her WrestleMania match. And she was doing all this, we need a drum roll.
But she did say, though, that she had to pick a current wrestler.
And so Ronda Rousey, she picked Stephanie. And
Triple H came in, and I picked this as my moment as well, so I'm going to chime in on this one. Triple H came in and said, no, she has a contract, she's our CEO. She's our leader, all these things. But then Angle's in the ring as well and said, well, I also know that she has a second contract as a wrestler. So it looks like Rousey did get to pick Stephanie. Of course, the crowd went crazy, but then it developed even more than that. So what happened after that?
So what happened was Kurt Angle said that if Triple H attacked him one more time at Survivor Series, and if he attacked him one more time, he would come back to get him. And Kurt Angle said, I make the matches. I will make this match a tag team match.
Correct. Now, the thing that I didn't understand about this was, why didn't he just say, okay, well, I know why he didn't say it, but why didn't he just say, all right, Ronda, you got Stephanie, there's one match, boom. One, I want a second match, me versus Triple H, boom. And then you got two matches taken care of. Like, WrestleMania goes on for hours. You could have fit those two in. I think they're still protecting Ronda a little bit. I don't know if they're ready to give her a whole match right now, so having somebody there to help her probably is the way they went for that one.
And the thing I gotta say is, he's recovering from double pneumonia, and he remembers something from Survivor Series.
And he said, like, 2 weeks ago, he's like, I don't even remember what I said. I got no idea at all. And the fact that suddenly he could put Triple H in that ankle lock, and he didn't tap out, but only because Stephanie dragged him out of the ring. Yeah, he recovered from that pretty good. And yeah, they certainly didn't mention that double pneumonia thing again. Now, the part that I did like after all these things happened, because Triple H came back into the ring to try to do a cheap shot after they left, but Angle was ready for him. But Stephanie also came back in again and tried to deal with Ronda, which didn't work. Picked her up. I thought she was going for an AA. I heard somebody else say on Twitter they thought she was going for an F5. There was a few things. I thought it was a Samoan drop. Apparently, she said on Twitter that actually it's some sort of judo move. It's got I've never heard of it, so I can't repeat what it was. But I'd be interested to see if that's a signature move or if she's going to go to something else. Now, we looked to see what the top moment was. This wasn't a top moment, which I was shocked by. I thought Ronda was definitely... I thought this week of all weeks, we definitely got it. It seemed like an obvious one. And the number one moment, Braun Strowman dropping the piano on Elias.
That was fake, too. You could see that I watched Braun Strowman. He tucked in the legs so it would fall and it wouldn't even land on Elias. It would look like it would.
Well, I thought, if anything, it wasn't even the best musical instrument. I thought him hitting him with that double bass again. You knew what was coming, and when it came through and hit him, I thought... And if he was going to pick anything for that, well, you said this as well. You were more impressed with the car being lifted up. Yeah. Elias is trying to leave the stadium, and he's not going anywhere, and then you find out why, because Strowman's there lifting up the back of the car. I guess he didn't look in his mirror to see who was behind him. But, yeah, we weren't impressed with that one as the best move. I don't think I would have had that even in my top 3 this week.
Well, I thought Strowman trying to play the piano was even better than both of yours and the WWE top moment.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I do like those two. I like the playoff right now between the two of them. But yeah, that's certainly, the moment of the piano dropping was certainly not the best moment. And Strowman did get the pin because it was falls count anywhere. So that was the end of that match. In our 5th match, scheduled for...
One fall!
This week in wrestling news. Now, Mason, I'm going to give you a bit of a surprise. I was going to talk about the Big Show quietly retiring and not really getting much mention. But I actually read today, apparently that's not true. And actually, Big Show actually tweeted out as well. He's like, nope, I'm still here. And his picture of him working out at the gym. So that story apparently was not true. I saw it reported several places. However, this story you don't know about, I saw this last night. I'm super excited by this. I can't wait to hear your reaction to this. And I know that you didn't know about this. WWE announced on Monday that there will be a 50 superstar Royal Rumble match held in April in Saudi Arabia. Among the participants will be Triple H, John Cena, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, and Braun Strowman. Alright, what do you think of that 50-person Royal Rumble?
Whoa!
It's pretty impressive, right? Now, the thing that I was disappointed about, no mention is this going to be on the WWE Network. Now, we are currently on the WWE Network, but I'm talking about dropping it at some point. I'm staying if they put something on like that. That's going to be pretty cool, right? A 50-person match.
Where is it?
Saudi Arabia. They've actually had... That's going to break grounds over there.
Where?
That's in the Middle East, so that's going to be... It's going to say... I'm not sure what the time zone is. I know they're ahead of us on time. I'm not sure how many hours, so I don't know how that's going to work, but I definitely want to see that match.
Yeah.
You want to call a winner right now? I said Triple H, Cena, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman. We don't know anybody else right now. It is probably going to be a house show, I'm going to guess. I don't know. It says it's on a Friday, so it's not going to be a Monday night or a Tuesday night one day show.
I'm going Aleister Black.
Oh, wow. Wow, that came from left field. I didn't think you were going to say that one. All right, I'm going to go Braun Strowman. Because you don't know when, if you get drafted 1, if you get picked 1, that's going to be tough to last 50 people.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like that. As far as I know, it's always been the 30 people, right? And the women's won the same thing recently. That was 30. 50? My goodness. I don't think they even need any. I don't know. Are they going to have any other people even left for any other matches? Think how big they're going to have to ship a lot of people over just to get 50 people in them. I don't think they normally get through 50 people in a normal show. So I think that's going to be kind of interesting too. In our 6th match, scheduled for
1-4,
we have our favourite moment from Smackdown, March the 6th from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So what was your top moment this week then, Mason?
My top moment was when Corbin and Kevin Owens suplexed Dolph Ziggler and AJ Styles, and then they suplexed Sami in the corner of the ring all at once. That was just cool.
That was pretty cool. You kept getting an extra person in there, and then there was something else, and they just kept adding dimensions in there, and that was a pretty cool thing. My move that I went for was right at the end of that match. I did not see this one coming. Having last week, Sami Zayn said, I'll lie down in the middle of the ring, and I'll let you pin me, Kevin, so you can be the champion. And what does Sami Zayn do? He gives him a kick to the head, and then he pins him for the 1-2-3. And pretty much as he was leaving, said, yeah, I don't care. I'm so good. I'm the best. How come no one else has recognized it? And they did actually pick that on the top 10 picks as well. That was their number 1 pick there. So the only thing I think now is, though, I don't think Sami Zayn's winning that match. There's no way they're going to let him go back-to-back. Is that going to have a difference for Kevin Owens now? I don't think Kevin Owens is going to win that match either. So any predictions for who's going to win that match at Fastlane now? Cena was not in that match. We should say that. But he is going to be in the match on Sunday.
I'm going Cena.
I'm thinking Cena as well. I think it's time for him to eclipse Ric Flair, and I think he'll probably get that last one as well.
And why I didn't pick that kick was just, I called it last podcast, I think, it was just a ticking time bomb until Sami was going to turn on Kevin Owens.
It was, and we said that, how long is it going to last? Same with Jericho and Owens, it only lasts for so long. I thought it'd last longer than a week. I thought it would at least go through Fastlane and possibly WrestleMania, and then we'd see the storyline developing. So that certainly happened a lot quicker than I thought too. In our final match, round 7, scheduled for
1-4,
we have Tweet of the Week. Now, this is probably not from this week. This is actually from early in February. This is from somebody who fights at Nova Pro, which is appropriately, and also from Impact. This is from Sanjay Dutt. So this is from Sanjay Dutt, at Sanjay Duddison. And he said, as pro wrestling evolves, I sincerely hope safety is still the top priority. And, end quote. And then less than a month later, what do we have? We have that situation we talked about at the start. So I thought that was a good way to finish this episode, just to contrast what we talked about at the beginning with what we talked about at the end. And certainly we hope safety is important. We like our wrestling, but we do want to keep our stars safe as well. We are on Twitter at MGB Wrestling Pod, and I'm also available at Mr. Bagshaw. You can email us at mgbwrestlingpod@gmail.com and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, which is MGB Wrestling Podcast. We will also be releasing a special Nova Pro review of #CutHerToShreds, and that will either come out on Sunday night or Monday night, because that event is on Saturday. Our music Zigzag is courtesy of Kevin MacLeod, which is incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Available at www.creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.